Hello and thank you for joining me again on Run Level 0. One of the things that I like best about Linux distributions, I love reading the history of these distributions and hearing from the developers about what really inspired them to create the distro to begin with. So today we're looking at SolydXK, and I was looking at their About page on the website, and I'd just like to go over this with you. SolydXK is, well, it's actually a pair of Linux distributions, both based on the Debian Testing branch. And I love Debian as a base for Linux distributions because it is a solid Linux distribution in its own right. It's one of the oldest distros. It's known for its stability. It receives excellent support, and it is a rolling release distro. So in theory, once you install your system, you never have to update it, you never have to upgrade it, rather, to make sure you have the most up-to-date latest version of the OS. So the I'm a real fan of the rolling release cycle. But on the About page of SolydXK, it said SolydX and SolydK are Debian-based distros with the XCFE and KDE desktop. SolydXK claims to be, or rather SolydXK aims to be, simple in use, providing an environment that is both stable and secure. SolydXK is an open source alternative for small businesses, nonprofit organizations, and home users. So they give a brief history. It says, you find SolydXK's roots in another great distribution, Linux Mint. There were two distributions which I liked very much, Linux Mint KDE and Linux Mint Debian Edition. There were rumors that the two would merge, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So I decided to make my own distribution. First as a tutorial in the forum, but later it became known as the unofficial LMDE KDE. When Linux Mint dropped their LMDE XFCE edition, I started that one from scratch, and the unofficial LMDE XFCE was born. Both these editions were mainly created with the help of the community. Without them, they simply wouldn't exist, especially with the XFCE edition, where the community decided which software was to be included and which software not. So these distributions are really community driven. When it became clear that the unofficial editions were not going to become official, I decided to take the next step and let these great distributions stand on their own 2 feet, and the unofficials got their proper names, SolydX and SolydK. SolydXK will not forget its roots. SolydXK and Linux Mint work closely work together to make our distributions even better. I like that story, and it's so true and so similar of many Linux distros out there that fork from a parent distro to become their own environment. And the developers, the community of SolydX and SolydK have delivered a real winner for us here. So let's take a look at SolydXK, beginning with SolydX. This is the XFCE version, and again, it is based on Debian Testing. When you first install or first boot into the live environment, you're greeted by this nice welcome screen that gives you an intro to what they are and what they're for. But it's more than just a welcome screen. It really helps you get started. There's a drivers section that if you have any hardware that requires proprietary drivers, they'll help you install it here. On the community page, there are sections, there are links to take you to the home page, to the forum, tutorials, and chat room. And under Contribute, they tell you how to get involved with the community or make a donation. And folks, if you've seen my other videos, you know that I am a big supporter of donating to these Linux distributions. Doing this stuff really isn't free, and they offer it to you free of charge. So please, if you can afford to, please contribute. But I want to go back to this community tab and hit the tutorials for a moment. I love documentation on a distribution, and SolydXK does a really nice job. You can go to their tutorials page, and you see it's really divided up nicely. But beyond just having regular tutorials, written tutorials, for example, in the section Create SolydXK USB on Windows 7, it shows you how to do it, tells you how to do it in the console, in the terminal, but they also link a video, so you get video support. I really like that. That's nice. And you can tell just from this page, they do have their drivers, they do have Flash installed and configured for you, which on a Debian based system, that's that can be problematic at times. Alright, so you do get a traditional desktop layout, beautiful wallpaper, and I really like the color scheme that they've chosen. It's very easy on the eyes. You could use this all day and I don't think it would fatigue your eyes at all. But on the desktop there is a shortcut to the home folder with a nice icon scheme. The file browser is of course Thunar. I'm having a bit of an issue in my virtual box. Anything up in this corner of my virtual for some reason doesn't want to respond. It's not an issue with SolydXK. That is my virtual. I've verified that. I was having a issue on another distro I just reviewed as well. So yeah. Anyway, back to the review. You have one panel along the bottom, and this is running in a virtual, and as with all my virtuals, to keep things fair and honest, I give all of my virtuals 2 gigabytes of RAM and 2 dedicated processors to work off of. But on this bottom panel there is access to volume control, a calendar and clock, battery monitor if applicable, notification area, and your update monitor is also down here. So if your system is, you can tell with a glance, see the little shield with the green check box or green check mark means that my system is up to date. If you're needing updates, it'll change here and let you know, and you can click there to launch the update manager. Network control and configuration is also in this lower right hand corner. Open windows and applications will be displayed in the central portion of the bar, and on the left hand side is a quick launch to your file manager and a button to minimize all open windows and show the desktop. The menu for SolydXK is the Whisker menu, which is a modern, searchable, configurable menu for the XFCE desktop. You can search for applications. There is an area for your favorites. Control panel, lock screen, and session manager are also available right from this one menu. From the favorites, you can see your recently used applications, and your applications are categorized. Let's see a few things that are installed here. Under settings, you have the XFCE4 settings manager, an application so you can customize the style, icons, and fonts. Let's see. They do a good job of putting in helpful notes as well as far as what your applications do. So there is a device driver manager. Configure your display. Firewall configuration is installed, which you know I'm a big proponent of, a big supporter of that. Gparted for managing partitions. Let's see, just your basic settings and control features. Power manager, preferred applications, screensaver. You can control what applications or scripts run at startup. Let's take a peek at the Synaptic Package Manager is installed, but there is also another application here. Oops, I hit the wrong one, of course. Here we go, Software Manager. There is a new or another software manager here in addition to Synaptic. So if you're a more advanced user and you want finer control over what packages are installed on your system, you can use Synaptic. But if you're a more casual user or a beginning user, you can use this software manager. And this is a very handy, visually appealing, easily user-friendly software manager, because everything is categorized. So if you're looking for internet applications, you can just search internet. You can search for sound and video. You can also search by name. So yeah, I like that. That's worthwhile. Back to the menu. See, under accessories, you have the bulk rename from Thunar, Catfish file search. I'm not going to go over everything. Let's see. Graphics, you have a PDF viewer, the GIMP. You have an image viewer, a photo organizer, and simple scan. For internet, again, Firefox is the web browser of choice here. Mozilla Thunderbird for your email client. Pigeon Internet Messenger. Transmission for BitTorrent and XChat IRC. For multimedia, you have your volume control. Exhale for your audio collection. Pulse audio volume control. VLC and XF burn. For Office, you have a lightweight Office selection here. You have AbiWord and Gnumeric for your Word, or for your text documents and your spreadsheets, which, you know, the average user, that's really all they're going to need. And AbiWord and Gnumeric, they do a good job at managing those files. And under System, you have the Debian Plymouth Manager, which I didn't show you the boot splash, the Plymouth that runs with SolydX or SolydK, but they are visually appealing. But if you wanted to change them, you can with this Plymouth Manager. Again, firewall configuration. Light DM Manager, that's for your login screen. There's a backup utility. Samba utility. Sorry about that. Again, Synaptic. Let's take a peek at the Task Manager here and see what we're running on. 310 megabytes. That's not too bad. I've seen XCFE run lighter, but 300 meg, that's about average. So, SolydX, the XCFE desktop, I like it. I believe that it would be suitable for any new or advanced user. Please give it a try. So now we're going to take a peek at SolydK, the KDE implementation. So here we are. Welcome to SolydK. SolydK is the KDE implementation of the two. When you log in or install, you get the excellent SolydXK welcome screen. We've already seen that, so we won't go through it. But one thing you will notice, that being KDE, you have KWin installed, and they do have a selection of some desktop effects enabled by default. But they were really conservative with it. I think they made wise choices on it. You can see that you have some transparency enabled there. So that's nice to look at. Again, you have a more traditional desktop layout. A single desktop with a single panel across the bottom. In the lower right, there's access to your calendar and clock. Notification area. This is actually, the little X here is actually your network control. This machine's disconnected right now. Volume Manager, Clipboard Manager, and of course the nice Update Manager. Once again, open, as is true with most desktops, open applications will be displayed here in this central portion of the panel. On the lower right hand side is access to your Dolphin File Manager. We'll open that up, as well as a Show Desktop button. And if this looks familiar, it is very, very compatible with, is practically the same layout as the SolydX desktop. So I like seeing that continuity between the desktop setups. Opening the menu, we have the Kickstart menu for KDE, the traditional menu. You can also right-click that and switch to a classic menu style if you'd like. So you do have some themability there, some choices. KDE gives you a lot of control over the way your desktop looks. So the application launcher style, rather, I stand corrected there. So again, this is a searchable menu, very common to KDE. This is really one of the default application menus. But you have access to your favorites. Let's see what's installed in this KDE version. So going up to the top under Games, Play on Linux and Steam are installed. For graphics, again, you have a scanner utility, an image converter, document viewer, expo blending, exposure blending, the GIMP, KDE image viewer, and a variety of lens calibration utilities, panorama. So there seems to, a screen capture program, photo management program. So there seems to be a lot of nice photo and video manipulating programs installed. Under Internet, you have the BitTorrent client, a download manager, instant messenger, an IRC utility, again Thunderbird, a network folder manager, remote desktop manager, or remote desktop client rather, and Firefox is the default web browser. Looking at multimedia, again AMZ downloader, Amarok is your audio player, K3B for burning optical media, VLC is your media player, and KMix sound mixer. Under Office, again you get the LibreOffice suite, as well as your Ocular image viewer, or rather your PDF viewer. For settings, you have the device driver manager, screensaver settings, your software manager. Let's take a look at the software manager, see if they use the same one. This is one I didn't look at before. Yes, it is the same software manager, so it's going to be a user-friendly software manager. Coming back down to our menu. Oh, took it a minute. Again, this is only running on 2 gigs of RAM. So based on that, I would recommend SolydK for newer systems. This is running on 2 gigs of RAM, and it was a little sluggish there. So keep that in mind. Back under settings, yep, we've got about all of that. Let's look at our utilities. Kate is your text editor, of course, backup and sync utility, encryption tool, so yeah, it seems to have a fairly robust set of applications pre-installed, but they all seem to be very well thought out. Altogether, I've been impressed by both SolydX and SolydK, and I think they're both worth checking out, especially being based on Debian, their close ties with Linux Mint. Give them both a try. I think you're going to be pleased with them. I think they would make a good choice for the beginning and advanced users alike. You really can't lose with either one of them. Thank you for joining me for these reviews. Please leave your comments, questions below. I encourage open discussion and sharing of ideas. Just please remember, if you're a more advanced user, be polite to the new guy. Help them grow. None of us started as experts. We all began somewhere, and we don't want to discourage anybody by taking an improper attitude with them. Thank you. I hope to be with you again soon for another video.